Welcome back to part 2. I'm here at Silverstone for the Production BMW Championships, and I'm here with Ben Winrow. Ben, disappointing result there. Started in pole position. What happened?
Yeah, just broke a gear linkage, I think. I'm not quite sure what the technical term is. We'll leave that. We'll gloss over that. But yeah, just stuck in third gear, so there's no way we could continue. A little bit disappointed to get lined up on the outside, to be honest. Silverstone have got a funny old rule because the F1 start on a staggered grid. They put the cars on the outside, whereas a saloon car is a line-up grid, so everyone starts in the same profile. But so we started on the outside, so you're at the disadvantage already.
And then the unfortunate technical issues to the car. So do you think you'll be sorted for later on?
I hope so. Yeah, there's a good old crowd in the BMW paddock, so everyone will pitch in, I'm sure, and help us get it fixed. The only downside is we start where we finished in the first race, so we'll be starting at the back, see if we can get some more lights fitted to the front of the car, and yeah, hopefully people will be on the lookout for us.
Well, it's race 2 of the Production BMW Championships. After a fantastic win this morning, Mike Tovey is in pole position, Stuart Waite is close behind, and Matthew Parks third on the grid. Poor old Ben Winrow starts at the back of the grid, but as always in the BMWs, anything could happen.
Here's Ben Winrow then, coming into position, back of the grid. Will he be able to surge up and claim a podium or a victory? Well, Mike Tovey starts from pole position, the reigning champion. Can he make it 2 from 2 this weekend? Simon Glenn and Alex Green also showing well. Red lights are on. Out they go, and away goes the field. It's a good start from Tovey. See him, who is about to lead into Copse Corner. Ben Winrow already looking to gain places. Here he comes around the outside line into Copse. He's gained several positions before he even arrived at the first corner. Goes around Christian Dean through Copse and then accelerating through. He will try and gain as many places as he possibly can in these early stages. He doesn't want Mike Tovey and the rest of them to pull too far clear. So it's Tovey who leads it, Stuart Waite in second, Matthew Parks in third, with then Simon Glenn in fourth position. Harry Goodman in amongst the battles in the midfield. He's just trying to get his way around Andy Gay in the silver 62 car. Andy, though, able to hold his position for the moment, accelerating then onto the national straight. Goodman in the white machine, though, tries to draw alongside the silver car. They're fighting for about 12th place down into Brooklands. And then we've got Stephen Carter just up ahead of us and going for the move. And he's going to do it. Harry Goodman gains 2 places on the brakes into Brooklands. It's audacious drive from Harry Goodman. Certainly working hard at the wheel, but it seemed to pay off for him. He gained the places and should have held on to them. Yes, he has, you can see. So he moves up in one fell swoop into about 10th position. As on to complete the first lap of the race is Mike Tovey. He's trying to do the double this weekend, Silverstone. Then we've got Stuart Waite and Matthew Parks. And Parks, the disappointment of race 1, finishing in 4th after that time penalty, looks to fight back in race 2. He moves up into 2nd place, up the inside of Waite through Copse Corner, as Ben Winrow continues to try and gain places. Helped a little bit there by Kevin Welsh, getting it all wrong just ahead of him. So that's 2 more positions ticked off for Winrow. Simon Glenn in 4th place sees 2nd and 3rd side by side. Parks, having gone through at Copse, is now under real threat from Stuart Waite, who bounces over the curbs at Beckett. Was alongside briefly mid-corner. He then slips back as they accelerate to the national straight, and this could give Glenn the opening. He heads up into 3rd position, then moving past Stuart Waite, but will Waite be able to fight back into Brooklands? They fan out. We've also got, going well, Alex Green on the brakes, and Glenn, what about that? So late on the brakes into Brooklands. Stuart Waite overcooking it slightly. He also goes now back behind Alex Green. Jack Gabriel into the mix as well. Alex Green judged that perfectly. Got the inside lines. Brooklands got the braking point right, and he moves up into 4th and now challenging for 3rd. He looks to the inside of the silver car of Simon Glenn. Here they come into the back of the shot out of Woodcote. Glenn, though, maintaining that 3rd position. All the while, the Legion duo just beginning to skate up ahead of them through Copse Corner. There is Alex Green, somewhat confusingly in the bright orange car, and then Jack Gabriel has also gained the place over Stuart Waite as they accelerate on now towards Maggots. Tom Ibrahim as well, showing well in this scrap. Glenn holds on to 3rd place. Green closing up on the brakes with about half a car length. They just kick up the dust through Beckett's, running out a little bit wide over the curbs is Jack Gabriel. Now that may harm him on to the national straight. He may just live a little bit further back. Good scrap. A bit lower down the order. Ian Francis is just gaining the place on Paul Kembry. So Francis in the bright red car moving up as Ben Winrow is already latched himself into the top 10. He moves past Miles Howard. He's going to try and do the same to Tom Ibrahim around the outside into Brooklands. There he goes, and already the fight for third place is in sight. There is Winrow at the back of the shot. Here's the battle for third, being headed up by Simon Glenn, and this is really helping Winrow's cause, because these 4 cars are engaged in very, very close combat. They'll be slowing themselves down just a little bit, as Stephen Murphy also takes the opportunity to move past Paul Kembry in the fight for 23rd position. Paul, though, nice and smooth through Luffield. So Mike Tovey leads it, Parks in second, then this gap back to Simon Glenn and Alex Green, third and fourth, still battling very closely. And Green much closer to the rear of Simon Glenn this time. In fact, he looks to the outside, and that could enable Stuart Waite to go through, because Green's been left hung out to dry around the outside. It's also bringing Ben Winrow into the mix as well. Winrow already past Jack Gabriel and down the national straight. He's going to move past Stuart Waite and possibly Alex Green as well. Winrow, what a drive from the very, very back of the grid, and he's about to move into 4th position here into Brooklands. Through he goes, places gained. He got the run out of Beckett, able to pass 2 cars on national straight, and now he takes his turn at pressurising Simon Glenn for that final podium position. But Glenn, all the while, is going to want to hold on to this, so this is now going to be very tricky for Ben Winrow to get through, because he's not got the advantage of surprise. Having latched himself onto the tail of that battle, he's now really going to have to outfox Simon Glenn. We want to do it sooner rather than later, though, because Tovey and Parks have now disappeared somewhat here, and Winrow, he can't get past Simon Glenn quickly. This is a fairly short race, just 15 minutes for the Marangoni Tyres Production BMW Championship, and therefore Winrow can see those 2 leaders disappearing over the horizon, and every corner that passes is a corner less for Ben Winrow to try and close that gap down and move higher than 4th position or 3rd position, should he be successfully getting past Simon Glenn. So through Beckett's once more onto national straight. This is really Winrow's territory. We saw that a lap ago. Looks to carry the speed along the straight. He's got the inside line to Brooklands. If he's going to be bold enough and brave enough on the brakes, he tries to draw alongside, but Glenn able to hold his line, and Winrow increasingly frustrated now in 4th position. But at the same time, he'll know that the points for 4th are better than no points at all, and therefore he's not going to do anything rash to get past Simon Glenn. He's just going to have to pick his moment perfectly. Kembry has obviously had a moment that's gone less perfectly. He recovers after a half spin as Winrow now draws alongside Glenn into Copse Corner. He's going to go through, takes 3rd position. Simon Glenn, no option but to now look at the rear of Ben Winrow's crew. He's also coming to pressure from Stuart Waite, who tries to capitalise on this as well and gain 4th place. And Waite's got the inside line as they jink through Maggots into Beckett, so Stuart Waite goes into 4th and immediately pressurises Ben Winrow, but he bounces wide off the curbs, and that may just hamper his momentum onto the national straight, and if it does, then Glenn should be able to repass him by the time they arrive into Brooklands. Already Glenn draws alongside Waite as they come under the national bridge, watching to the braking zone in Brooklands, and yes, Glenn goes through. Stuart Waite immediately demoted back into 5th position. That's Jack Gabriel in 6th, with Alex Green sniffing around all over his tail. What a brilliant race this has been. Now that Winrow's in 3rd, he's trying to pull away already and chase down that man, Mike Tovey, who continuously needs to be pressurised all the way by Matthew Parks. And the gap back to Ben Winrow. It's over 5 seconds though, and that could just be too much for Winrow to close down in the remaining moments that we've got left in this race. Still the fight for 4th position continues. And if anything, Matthew Parks, I was about to say, was getting close to Mike Tovey, but that could have just been a final bid that's gone slightly wrong. Out over the curbs is Parks, and that costs him about a second or so as we head very much into the closing stages now. Lights ablaze in the background is Ben Winrow. Simon Glenn, Stuart Waite still enjoying their battle. It's remaining in favour of Glenn, just from Waite, who looks the inside into Luffield. That's going to be very close. They almost swap door handles, and in fact Waite goes through. The checker flag comes out. Winrow wins it from Matthew Parks. 3rd place to Ben Winrow, which is an absolutely stunning drive from the back of the grid. And then Simon Glenn did just snatch 4th place on the line from Stuart Waite. So the final results: Tovey the win from Parks, Winrow, Simon Glenn, Stuart Waite and Alex Green rounding out the top 6, having overhauled Jack Gabriel in the closing stages. Delighted Mike Tovey, 2 victories from his trip to Silverstone. Smiles for Ben Winrow, 3rd place, a just reward for a fine drive.
Mike Tovey, double win, congratulations.
Yeah, awesome weekend. Wasn't expecting this at all to come out of it. We qualified second. We were optimistic. We had good pace with Ben, which usually he's got a bit too much of a gap on us. But I held with him, so it was a good weekend. 2 wins, brilliant.
Second on the podium, well done.
Very happy with that. Again, I wish I had the first, but Mike was too quick. The gap was closing, opening, but he just seemed to manage to keep me at bay really for now.
We weren't really too sure what to expect coming into this race. Obviously we had a mechanical failure in the first one which landed us on the back row for that race, but to come from I think 29th on the grid and wind up stood on the podium is something special. So it only means we dropped 2 points to Mike, so if you'd have told me we could have done that coming into this race, I'd have laughed at you, but no, really good result.
6-week break then until the next round at Snetterton, where Mike Tovey will arrive as the championship leader from Matthew Parks and Ben Winrow, with ground to make up. Stuart Waite and Liam Crilly round out the top 5.
Well, that's it for us here at Silverstone for the Marangoni Tyres Production BMW Championships in association with QuickFit. Join us again in a few weeks' time for some more exciting racing at Snetterton.